for worse.
I'm just wondering if there's any oxygen in here. I walked in thinking, gosh, I'm going to need something. You know, there's one key principle that shapes my decision making, and that is the relationship between government and the people. And that's what shaped my understanding as city council member of that relationship and watching that happen. We had a number of things occur since I've been on the city council and has affected me on the city council. One has been utopia, and whether or not the people had an opportunity to even engage in that discussion. And then we've had the Main Street plan, we've had, you know, the intersection at Parrish and Main, we've had, you know, those light rail. And, you know, it's those things that captured the opinions of the people that were engaged in the community on those issues. And I felt it was very, very important that we as elected officials are sensitive to the needs of the people. Really, the government is designed to serve the people, not the people, the government. That, to me, is the proper role of government.
Thank you.
I was appointed by the Secretary General of NATO to work with the UN Department of Humanitarian Assistance. And I wrote a manual. It's about 1,000 pages. I co-authored the manual. And I was also the editor of this manual on how to use military and civil defense assets in disaster relief operations. And part of that manual also included how to actually deploy to other nations. If one nation made a request for disaster assistance, how other nations would then respond to that request. And so I put together the actual process in which they would do that. And they're using that process today. And so I do know how to pull people together. Now, in Centerville, I did the same thing, kind of. I noticed that we weren't prepared for emergencies. And so I initiated an action to create what was called a Citizen Core Council. I wrote the bylaws, wrote the resolution. It was approved by the city. They turned around and appointed me as the chairman of the Citizen Core Council. We have on that council the 4 districts or state representatives. We have 4 committees. We have a representative from the city. We now have somebody serving, I think it's Lieutenant Paul Child. I don't think it is, I know it's Paul Child. Lieutenant Paul Child, who's serving as our emergency manager. And we have put together, for the last 5.5 years, a program to help get our citizens prepared if we had just in case we had an earthquake, or if we had a mudslide, or a wildfire. And you know, we've had some wildfires, and we've also had some windstorms. And we were prepared, probably the most prepared city in Davis County when we had that 2011 windstorm. I think it's utopia is the biggest one. I think most of us don't know a lot about it. We're learning about it. My concern about utopia is this escalation of commitment. We started out with an idea that it might be about $8 million to build out the city. We're now looking at a 33-year commitment that's costing us $17 million. You add to that the UIA connection. UIA is the Utah Infrastructure Agency. It's a sister organization to Utopia. And that's another $5.7 million. And they're looking at another $300 million to build out the rest of the cities. That'll equate to $10.8 million from Centerville. It's a lot of money. That, when you compare $34 million to $8 million, you know, I'm wondering exactly what we're doing in Utopia. When are we going to stop this escalation of commitment, especially when we are looking at hard or tough economic times? And we've got to look at this more closely. When they got involved in that, I think the council was looking at the positive aspects of having high-speed internet. And that was the shiny object. And this is an example of a fishing lure. And you see the shiny object here? Okay, that's what they were looking at. But they didn't see the hook, the financial hooks that were attached to it. It just so happens that this fishing lure is called pot of gold, by the way. It is a pot of gold, I guess, for the fishermen, but not for the fish. There has been, we've had a lot of discussion about this. I do not believe that we need to change the form of government, Centerville form of government. We're fine. We're a 6-member form of government. We have a very strong city manager. I think he does a great job. He looks at the professional, from the professional side, he brings his experience to the council. I do think that the mayor needs to be more engaged. A good example is the idea that, or the understanding that Utopia is collateralized with the other 11 cities. We need to get a handle on that. I think as the mayor, he can certainly reach out and touch the other 10 mayors. We've got 3.52% interest in the network. Why not pull together people from the city, from experts, and let's build the business plan for Utopia. One of the things I'd like to do is a top-to-bottom operational review. It's time. It's interesting that Representative Bear said, we shouldn't be afraid of that. The idea is not to fire people. The idea is to look at it from non-attribution perspective and see where we can cut waste and improve efficiency. We all like high-speed internet. I love high-speed internet. I'm in education. I love to be able to download a paper and grade it quickly. That's not the issue. It was the hook that was on the end, and that had to do with the finances. I don't think that was thought through enough. So what I plan on doing is pulling together, like I said, people that are from our community. We've got some very smart people here. We're going to take the lead, and we're going to build a business plan for Utopia. They don't have a business plan. They haven't had a business plan. That was one of the things in the state audit that they identified. There was no business plan or history of a business plan. In fact, they said they were operating off of a series of spreadsheets. Can you imagine 185 million, and then these other millions, 65 million, and what they're planning on doing, operating without a business plan? I talked to my wife about that, and she says, it doesn't make sense for someone to operate or to ask for money, especially from the cities like Centerville, and not have a business plan. If you went to the banker and you wanted money from the bank, what is the first thing the banker's going to ask for? He's going to ask for your business plan. And they're coming to us and asking for money now to offset their operational expenses. So we're going to turn that corner a little bit. We're going to get them on the right track. I want to make it sustainable. We have a lot of people that have invested in it. And so we're going to do that. We're going to take the lead and do that. At the same time, I want to see what we can do to offset some of the problems that we've got with our current debt load. We've got to reduce the debt load. So those are two things that I plan on doing. We're not going to have a sharply divided government. We're going to work closely together. There's a lot of hard rhetoric right now going on. This is the election, but I'm going to work very hard if I'm elected as mayor, and I'm also on the city council, even as a member of the city council, in working with whoever is elected mayor. I'm going to reach out and try to assuage some of these divisive feelings that we've got and try to lift people up. This is really about the people. It's not about what's going on in government. We have to create a culture that focuses on our purpose for serving in the city, and that is to serve the people. And that's what I plan on doing.
Thank you.
Well, I hope that I live long enough that I don't have to use the cemetery. I know we need more space in the cemetery, so that's one area. Maybe that'll be one of the legacies that I'll be able to carry. I think by getting a hold of the financial challenges that we have right now, creating an environment where people feel good about going to City Hall and good customer relationships established, a culture of friendliness and kindness and concern. I think all of us are struggling right now. I just found out that vets that are getting disability and also those who are retired from the military aren't going to be getting a paycheck in November. And that's affecting me, and I'm sure it's affecting many people. If we don't tackle the financial issues 20 years from now, I really don't know what we'll see. So we've got to tackle those financial issues now before we can really look at any of the other issues. That has a direct impact on the future. And during the Noriega period, I was Minister of Panama during that time, and my task was to start up that economy again. So I pulled in an awful lot of people together. And we were able to pull these disparate components and civic leaders and business people, and we stood up the economy again. At the same time, I had to feed 50,000 people for 30 days. And so to distribute that food, I found another 178 organizations that allowed us to set up that distribution network. And we got people fed, and we got things stood up. It was great. There's a number of other types of examples that I can give you that are very distinctive, and they're on my website, and I encourage you to look at those. I've been around the block. I've got 40 years of experience. I've got a toolkit that I can reach in and pull out lots of solutions. So I hope that you'll give me a chance to use that. I don't have any personal ambitions for running for mayor. I want to serve our community. And I'd like to use the toolkit that I've been given to serve, to put it at your disposal. So thank you.
Thank you.